the Chinese city of Shanghai, Tuesday.
It began with an exchange of gunfire between Philadelphia police and members of a radical group holed up along with their children in a city row house. Then a fire, apparently touched off by police, spread to dozens of other homes. Good evening, I'm Ted Koppel in Washington, and this is Nightline. We'll have the latest on that continuing confrontation in Philadelphia, and we'll discuss whether the tragedy could have been avoided.
This is ABC News Nightline. Reporting from Washington, Ted Koppel.
The group calls itself MOVE, M-O-V-E. Its membership is predominantly black, and while it describes itself as a back-to-nature movement, that may be an overly benign description of a group that has terrorized its neighbors and has a history of violence. Back in 1978, Philadelphia authorities tried to evict MOVE's membership, failed, and then literally tried to starve them out. The blockade back in '78 lasted 55 days, cost Philadelphia over $1 million, and ultimately ended in violence anyway, with a policeman being shot and killed, others badly injured. Apparently, Philadelphia authorities were expecting the worst again today, because last night, residents of the area were ordered out of their homes by police. Just before dawn today, police surrounded MOVE headquarters and ordered the occupants out. They refused, and during the day, the violence escalated. With an estimated 10 to 15 adults and children inside the house, shots were exchanged. Literally thousands of shots. The house was bombarded with tear gas and water cannon. Then, early this evening, police dropped an explosive device on the roof and fire broke out. As Michael Connor reports, Mayor Wilson Goode of Philadelphia says there was no alternative.
There's always the worst case scenario. And what we see here is the worst case that could in fact happen, which is in fact the loss of property and perhaps lives.
For Philadelphia's mayor, Wilson Goode, it is indeed a worst-case scenario. A row of houses in the southwest part of the city ablaze. The unfortunate and undesired effect of police attempts to seize a group of radicals known as MOVE, who lived in one of the houses. The fire started when a police helicopter dropped an explosive device, still unknown, on the roof of the house in question. As the blaze began to spread, police say 3 armed members of MOVE managed to escape from the house into a nearby alley. They traded shots with police sharpshooters, making it dangerous and difficult for firefighters to stop the blaze.
What we have out there is war. And I knew from the very beginning that once we made that decision to go in there, it would in fact be war, because they intended to have a violent confrontation.
The drama began this morning at dawn when police approached the house, attempting to evict those inside. They were met with a hail of gunfire. MOVE is an unorthodox, back-to-the-earth organization, opposed, members say, to technology. Neighbors claim large numbers of stray dogs and cats live in the group's homes, and that both animal and human waste is spread in their yards, attracting rats. In 1978, Philadelphia police tried to evict the group from another house. Gunfire broke out, and 1 policeman was killed. Today, even before the fire started, neighbors argued over the city's use of force.
This is not the way to deal with it. Regardless of how they live, it does not merit the taking of lives.
We have laws to govern. We got laws, but how you gonna tell anybody how to live? I couldn't come in your house and tell you your floor is dirty, you need to scrub it.
You can't live next door to me and have dogs and cats and rats and throwing human feces out.
But tonight, the mayor defended his actions.
We cannot permit, under any circumstances, ever again to have one small group hold this entire city hostage for any period of time.
Ironically, the mayor has sought to avoid a confrontation with MOVE since he took office a year and a half ago. Tonight, major fires are still burning, and members of the group are still at large. This is Michael Connor for Nightline in Philadelphia.
Joining us now live via telephone from his office in Philadelphia City Hall, the mayor of Philadelphia, Wilson Goode. Mr. Mayor, bring us up to date, if you would. What's happening right now? How many of the homes have been destroyed?
We have, at this point, Ted, about 36 to 40 homes, which either have been will, by the time it fires out, be destroyed.
Now, let me just ask you about those 3 men that we heard Michael Connor talking about. I assume they're men, 3 adults in any event, who were armed, who made it out of the home. Are they still at large?
Yes, we had 5 people to come out. To my knowledge, 3 men, 1 woman, and 1 child. The woman and child have been taken into custody and are being treated at the hospital. The 3 men are still at large, to our knowledge.
Now, if the object was to get people out peacefully, or if at least the object was to contain violence, then clearly you failed, right?
Well, I think, Ted, that what we have here is a kind of limit on the number of loss of lives. I know that we did, in fact, lose property, but I will trade a house loss in fire any day for life lost. And I believe as long as we can continue to restrict and limit the number of people who will die, I'm pleased with that. My concern all along, and the reason I did not want to act until the very last minute, was we had children in there. I did not want to go out there and put those children's lives at risk. But I'm convinced, Ted, that there was no other way around. This group has made it known for a number of years now that they intended to have violent confrontation with the police. They're out to destroy the system that we live in. And there was no other way around. We had to, at one point, sooner or later, go in there and extricate them from the house.
Mayor Good, it could be argued they're not the ones who came out after you. By you, I mean the city, and city officials went in after them. What danger did they pose to the city of Philadelphia?
Well, basically, the issue here is, first of all, Ted, that the people in the house did, in fact, engage in fire first. They are the one who essentially engaged in fire first. The second thing is, I want to point out, is that we had 4 people in the houses who were wanted by the police and other authorities, and we had, in fact, warrants for their arrest. It started out the first thing in the morning by our asking them to peacefully surrender, as you would do with any ordinary kind of warrant. They simply told they would not come out. We then attempted to basically force them out with water and with tear gas. They returned water and tear gas with gunfire. I think that having spent a lot of time in the city trying to work for a very positive city, there's no other way around some difficult problems. And I don't know any other way to deal with this problem other than to simply try and make arrests of people who've broken the law.
Mayor Good, one final question to you. The fire was started by the police, right? A police helicopter dropped some kind of, what, percussion device on...
Ted, to my knowledge, that is true, although there are some speculation around the fire might have been caused by people inside the houses themselves. So I don't know at this point, and I think that based upon what I do have in front of me, however, I would say that the chances of the fire having been started by police is probably better than 50-50.
Do we know how many people are left inside that house?
We are unaware of anyone who has lost a life. We have no casualties to date. We do know that some people came out. We do not know at this time whether all came out or not. We do know that at least 3 people who came out have not been accounted for.
And no idea yet on how long it's going to take to bring those 40 houses which are on fire under control.
We expect that within the next several hours they will in fact be under control.
All right, Mayor Good, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
When we come back, we'll talk live with Benny Swans, head of a Philadelphia neighborhood group that has tried unsuccessfully to negotiate with MOVE in the past. And with Philadelphia Judge Wilhelm Nauer, who was chief prosecutor in 1978 when members of MOVE were convicted of killing a policeman in a similar incident.
This is ABC News Nightline, brought to you by Canon Copier.
Joining us now live from our affiliate WPVI in Philadelphia, Benny Swans, executive director of the Crisis Intervention Network, a group that has tried to negotiate with members of the MOVE organization in the past. He has also been on the scene today, in fact, just came back. And also at WPVI, Judge Wilhelm Nauer, who served as chief prosecutor when members of MOVE were convicted in 1978 in the killing of a policeman during a confrontation some 3 miles from where today's incident is taking place. Mr. Swans, you know, you must have heard what the mayor said just now. He claims it would have been impossible to end this any other way, short of violence. What do you think?
We had the opportunity to talk with MOVE yesterday evening around 10 o'clock. Clearly, they had no fallback position. They basically wanted all of the members that have been locked up in the 1979 shooting released. When you negotiate, there's generally two persons participating in that process. In talking with MOVE, there was much more of a discussion than a negotiation. I think there's a lot of Tuesday-back or quarterbacking occurring at this particular point. I think it was a lose-lose situation for everyone around. Both the residents of the block, I'm more than certain, feel a sense of loss. MOVE feels a sense of loss, and the city of Philadelphia feels a sense of loss.
Let me ask you this. You've talked to members of the neighborhood, other residents of the neighborhood. What is the prevalent feeling there, that these people genuinely constituted some kind of threat to the rest of the community?
I think it basically talks about who you talk to and where you talk to them at. If you talk to the residents on the block, and we did talk with them last year about this time, they had some legitimate concerns. They're hard-working people. They purchased their homes. They wanted to upkeep the block. So clearly they were much more involved and clearly were much more critical in terms of activities of MOVE because they had to tolerate it. Persons that did not live on the block felt a little bit more sensitivity to the MOVE organization and not necessarily to members of the block. I mean, even in talking to my own family members, there were varying opinions. But I can clearly say that I think that everyone is lost in this situation, the neighborhoods, MOVE, and to some degree the city of Philadelphia. Everyone wanted it to turn out different. I'm more than certain of that. I'm more than certain of that in terms of the city administration and the residents of the block, and I know many neighborhood people that were involved in the process of wanting to negotiate, wanting to formulate some agreements.
All right, Judge, now